Welcome back, focused learners, to another explainer. Today, we're tackling a totally crucial skill for any developer building modern applications, especially when we're talking about agentic AI. We're diving into managing vector data. Now, I know that might sound a little complex at first glance, but I promise you, managing data in ChromaDB is just as intuitive as traditional database management. If you want to take total control of your data, you are in the exact right place.
Okay, let's dive into this. Imagine you've built an absolutely incredible agentic AI. It's smart, it retrieves context, it's got memory. But what happens when facts change? We live in a wildly dynamic world, right? Information updates constantly. If your AI's memory is just sitting there static, it's going to quickly become outdated and pretty unreliable. So we need an AI memory that can actually evolve, learn new facts, and, just as importantly, let go of obsolete ones. That's the real power of dynamic memory management.
Here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First, the agentic AI memory. Second, viewing and reusing collections. Third, updating existing records. Fourth, deleting unwanted data. And finally, mastering ChromaDB management. All right, let's get into it.
Section 1. The agentic AI memory.
So when we're coding in Python, we rely on a persistent client. Think of this as the long-term physical memory for your agentic AI that actually survives even when you close your code editor or restart your whole machine. Your AI doesn't just wake up with amnesia, its knowledge safely persists right there in your project folder. Now, to access that persistent memory safely, we use this brilliantly simple method called getOrCreateCollection. Exactly like it sounds, this is a ChromaDB method that retrieves an existing collection by its name, or it automatically whips up a new one if it doesn't already exist. Let's say we have an existing data set of vehicles. This method safely reuses that specific database, so you don't have to worry about accidentally overwriting all your hard work.
All right, so the absolute crucial point here is establishing the right foundation in your code before you even try to touch your data. This is basically your standard operation procedure. First, you import ChromaDB into your Python script. Second, you connect that persistent client we just talked about. Third, you use getOrCreateCollection to safely load your data instance. And finally, once those 3 steps are locked in, you're ready to execute your action. Literally, you're going to run this foundational 4-step Python syntax before performing any database management task whatsoever.
Section 2. Viewing and reusing collections.
Now that we're securely connected, how do we actually look inside our AI's brain to recall its existing memories? When you're managing a database, you never want to be flying blind. Well, the solution is wonderfully simple. By using the command collection.get, you instantly retrieve all stored documents and their corresponding unique IDs from your connected persistent client. You just assign this command to a standard Python variable. Let's go ahead and call it data. And boom, just like that, you've pulled the entirety of your AI's existing records right into your current script, totally ready to be inspected.
And once you have that data sitting in a variable, reading it is a breeze. By using a standard Python for loop, specifically using the zip function, to iterate through the IDs and documents at the exact same time, you completely reveal your active memory. For our example, vehicles dataset, the output on your terminal would look exactly like this list. We've got a car assigned to ID car 1, a plane at plane 1, a boat at boat 1, and a bus at bus 1. This brilliantly illustrates exactly what's currently sitting right there in our AI's long-term storage.
Section 3. Updating existing records.
Okay, so what happens when you need to correct your AI's memory? Because let's face it, facts inevitably change, or maybe you just need the AI to have a bit more context. Let's look at a comparison. Say our old original record for a bus simply read, "Bus is a public transport and it runs on road." I mean, it's fine, but it's a little basic. If we want our agentic AI to be smarter and way more descriptive, we need a new, detailed definition. Bus carries more than 40 passengers and can run on road. We absolutely don't want to create a brand new entry and confuse the system. We just need to update the one we already have.
And here's the straightforward Python syntax to make that happen. You simply call the collection.update method. Inside the parentheses, you specifically target the exact record you want to change by calling out its ID. In this case, IDs equals bus1. Then, you just drop the fresh text right into the document's parameter. It is precise, it's highly targeted, and honestly, it requires barely any code to execute a pretty fundamental change.
Actually, I want to pause right here and really emphasize this rule because it is literally the golden rule of ChromaDB management. Chroma identifies every record by its ID. When you update using the same ID, the old text is replaced. Seriously, your unique ID is your master key. It's the one identifier that ensures you're modifying the correct piece of memory without accidentally duplicating data or, completely breaking your database structure.
Section 4. Deleting unwanted data.
Now, what if there's a piece of data that's just completely obsolete? Or maybe it was added by mistake. Making your AI permanently forget that specific information is just as simple as the update command we just did. You use the method collection.delete. And once again, notice how the unique ID is doing all the heavy lifting for us. By passing IDs equals boat1, we target that specific record and permanently sync it from our database. There's absolutely no complex querying or messy workarounds needed here. You just identify the ID and you delete it.
To verify our work, if we run our view script and loop through our data again after executing that delete command, our terminal output proves the change was a total success. The boat is permanently removed from the list. The remaining documents are just the car, the plane, and our newly updated bus. The entire rest of our collection stayed perfectly safe and untouched, while we surgically pruned out that unwanted data.
Section 5. Mastering ChromaDB Management. So, we've walked through the exact step-by-step logic needed to manipulate vector data, and this right here is your ultimate developer's cheat sheet. Let's map our dynamic memory actions directly to their Python commands, so you are fully prepared to confidently implement these in your own codebase. For a view action, you're going to use .get, which works off the collection name. For an update action, you use .update, and that absolutely requires the unique ID. And for a delete action, you use .delete, which, again, relies entirely on that unique ID. Just keep this structure in mind, and you will have total authority over your AI's memory bank.
You've officially mastered dynamic memory management in ChromaDB. Your AI's knowledge base no longer has to be frozen in time, so I want to leave you with a final thought to really spark your creativity. With these seamless database management skills now in your arsenal, what complex, evolving agentic AI application are you going to build next? The power to create intelligent, highly adaptable systems is literally right at your fingertips. Thank you so much for learning with me on this explainer. Stay curious and happy coding.